Hi everyone, it's Patti. I am just getting myself situated here, and I thought I'd drop in a minute early so that people don't have to watch me adjust things if they're not available yet. We are going to do something quite different, and it is going to be a will it work experiment. I have done some stuff with it, and I know some things work with it, so hopefully, fingers crossed that it all works out. Okay, just making sure my laptop's working. It is. Mute. Okay. And so, it is Throwback Thursday. So what we're going to be using is one of my favorite stamp sets. Red pandas are my favorite animal in the world. Cats and dogs are close second, of course, but red pandas are my favorite. So I had asked when Kim was asking for stamp sets ideas, I said, can we have some red pandas? So I was so happy when Netta had made us a red panda stamp set. The other thing, hi Kim, hope you're feeling a little better today. I'm gonna just explain, I was gonna explain that I'm using the new Stu-pand-ous, it's not new, a Throwback Thursday to an older stamp set. It was released in March 2024 according to my label. Stu-pand-ous stamp set because red pandas are my favorite. And if I'm going to make something, a coaster or keychain or something like that for myself, might as well use one of my favorites. This stamp set is on sale for the month of April until the end of the month, and then new stamp sets will be added to, old stamp sets I should say, will be added to the shop in May. So this one's on sale for $12.99 in the store right now. So a good deal on this one. You get a whole bunch of red pandas. The other thing I like with Netta's sets is she offers a lot of accessory stamps so that you can make scenes. And, you can switch with other stamp sets too. You're like, oh, I need a sun for something. Well, you have one there. Those type of things, or clouds. I love cloud stamp sets. So anyway, that one's on sale. So what I did was, just to save us some time, because I wasn't sure how long this is going to take me, and again, it is all an experiment, I stamped out the one that looks like she wants to give you a hug. Because I love the videos where the red pandas are kind of standing on 2 feet and kind of holding their arms out like they want to give you a hug. I switched gears this morning. Yeah, I love trying new things too. Hopefully it works. I believe it will. I bought some UV resin, so you need a lamp for it, which I have, or you can take it outside in a sunny weather, which hopefully one day I'll have again. We did get 3 centimeters of snow, I believe, overnight, and I hear Calgary got hit hard, and of course I am going there tomorrow, so hopefully it's melted by tomorrow. I did buy this one from Michael's, and it's holographic, so I'm hoping it's not going to interfere too much, but I just wanted to see if I need to put, yeah, she'll fit kind of in the middle here, and we'll add some other things to make her cool, but she's going to try and, I'm going to try and keep her up here so that the holographic doesn't interfere with my coloring, and we're going to embed her into the resin. So I'm going to use Lovely Lagoon, since that's also on sale. I have the re-inker. I'm going to be using that to mix in with my resin to add color. It is a dye pigment ink, so you have to be a little sparingly with it, and I mean, a little bit goes a long way, I find. But you do need to kind of do things in a little bit of layers with the UV resin, just so it cures properly. I did stamp out our little red panda with I went with Mellow Mustard today, just because I'm going to try and do a little bit of soft coloring, and I thought, hey, why not use an orangey color, kind of rusty orange color. And then I bought some like holographic sparkles to put in there. So sorry, I'm also recovering from being sick. Mine was just a mild cold though, and so I hope our Kim's doing okay. I am going to start with just coloring our image, since we kind of need that done before we can do our resin. So I am going to pull in some soft Copic colors, and I really hope that when I pour resin on top of it, it's not going to just wash away my colors. I have heard you're supposed to kind of laminate artwork, but today. And if it's a fail, well, at least you'll see how I colored a red panda, and you can always use that knowledge. I will try and keep my marker lid in here, and I'm going to zoom in. Maybe. Oh, zoomed out. I'm going to zoom in. Okay, now where am I? I had to wait for my laptop to catch up here. And I'm going to rotate it slightly a little bit. And I'm going to rotate my camera slightly a little bit. See if I can. My laptop's always like a few seconds behind from what I've done, so I just have to wait and see. Okay. I chose some markers that are on the softer palette, but I like contrast. So we'll see how soft she gets. But I'm going to start with a little light blend of YR00, YR01, and E97. I'm just going to start with these. Kind of a pinkish orange color scheme I'm going for. And this is going to be, the YRs are going to be the main fluffy parts of her. And I'm going to try and keep the belly a little bit on the creamier side. So I'm going to start with my YR00, sorry, 000, sorry. I hope I said that right. Oh, look, my angle of my camera has changed recently. I think I moved my tripod up, and now I can actually color, and hopefully, you guys can see better what I'm doing. I'm just adding this on kind of where I want my shadows. So I just kind of map it out with my lightest color. And in this case, she's facing us, so I think the sides of her head will be a little bit darker, and we'll kind of bring the color into the middle. Around her eyes, I always like to add a little bit of darkness around the eyes too, almost like a little bit of eyeliner. So I mark that in. And then the middle of the nose part, I usually say is pretty dark too. I love that Netta actually included eyebrows in this one. It's almost like she knew. And her ears, I'm going to add a little bit to the sides of them. And man, I like that color on her, even though that's not a trip, I wish sometimes that I would just leave it be and keep it at the lightest color. I need to make that a challenge for myself, but I'm going to end up adding a lot of contrast because that's what I do. I'm going into YR01, and I'm just going to just map out more of my shadows. And since I want to try and keep this a little bit lighter, I am going for just trying to add my color before I go a little too crazy with my contrast. And we're just going to leave a little bit of a gap there around the face, into the ears. And I'm just basically going over where I just did. You know what? I like it so much, I'm going to just try adding YR00. And we're going to just try and keep it very soft today. Almost pastel. See what happens. I'm going to always add the E97 in when I need it. So yes, it's not a very traditional panda, like they actually do have a lot of dark tones, but let's try and keep her pastel today. And I'm just blending over it right now. I'm going to let it dry, and then I'll come in with my darker marker again and just add some shading. I'm going to do her arms in this color too, so I may as well get in there and add that. So my shadows would be definitely where the arms meet the belly, because the belly is in front of the arms. Into her hands, her paws. And over here, we're going to add a bit. She's actually pretty easy to color because Netta actually left quite a few marks for, like, where would the belly be? In her case, she likes her bellies like this, so we're going to make sure this is all dark on this side. And it kind of comes down here. You can see the little dot lines. I am going to come to this side too and add a little bit on this side as well, since I said my light source is kind of coming from the top middle. Oh, good. I'm glad, Kim. And a little bit down the legs. We're going to make it simple today, just because, again, if this doesn't work, I don't want to put, I would be sad if it doesn't work, but I think it will. I want to keep it simple so that this doesn't take all day. I do have to go to work again today. I got some good news on last week. I got my review for my new job, and they love me so much they gave me $1 raise. I've only been there 3 months, so they said they've never done that before, where they've, you know, liked somebody so much that they're giving a raise like shortly after starting there. So I finally found my right fit again, which is making me happier. Still a lot of work, but it doesn't feel, I'm not burnt out like I was at the other job. So hope my previous coworkers don't, you know, get upset by me saying that, but I was pretty burnt out, and they knew that. So if they watch this video, it's not that I don't love them, I do love them, but it just needed a change, and it's working so well for me right now. So really love being there. They treat me well. I get along with everybody great. So now I just have to work on some skills that I haven't ever used. Even though I've been in the field for so long, it is kind of strange that, you know, some of those skills I never learned. But they do appreciate the fact that I'm always willing to just jump in and do it. No, I'm not off work today. I work 2:30 to 8:30 today. So it was originally supposed to work 12:30. That's why I was like, I'll record the video and then post it. But my schedule got changed, and I was just like, actually, that works out great. So I really like her soft colors. There's not a lot of contrast there, but I'm going to do her belly and her mask here, and then I'll see if I need to add any darker colors. I might have to, or I might just do just the eyes. For my belly, I was going to do kind of a okay. I'm changing my mind because it's so soft. I am going to do E000, like the E4 zeros, E42, and R0. I'm going for like a pinky color, trying to stay in that pastel mind. Alright, so again, with my lightest color, I'm just mapping out the belly, and this one's pretty close to YR00, so I might have to add some more contrast in. I just don't want it to blend too much. I want it to look like they're different colors. But the one nice thing about doing it lightly to begin with is you can always add more color in. Versus if I went right in with my contrast, then I might have problems. Alright, E42 is going to look a little bit dark just because I don't have a lot of that neutral anywhere, but that's okay. We're going to just add just a little bit, just around the sides. And I'm kind of going strokes and not just blending. Just because I want to start adding in a little bit of texture. Okay, looks a little silly at the moment, but I'm hoping that once I blend it out, that color won't look so dingy. So R00, just to make her belly look a little pink. And we'll see. Didn't really practice this color before I put it down. We do need a little bit of a difference in the tones, so. And then I'm going to go back with my E00, and I'm just going to blend over everything. Alright, again, very different than what I usually do, so. And now looking at it, as much as I like the pastels, this E42 looks a little bit dark, and my camera always makes it look way darker when I look up at it than I see on the paper. So I don't know if that's actually translating. I'm now going to go into my E97, and I'm going to just go around these eyes. Just bring the eyes in. And I'm just going lightly around it. Just making sure I'm still alive. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Did I freeze? Is it just my laptop? It says I'm live still. Okay. I think I'm the only one here, so. Oh, good here. Okay. Okay. But it's not showing what I just colored. So. Okay. Well, I will hopefully my laptop catches up in a moment. I had to restart my program. But I'm just going to go in and color his eyes. Refresh? Okay, I'll try refreshing. Good thing it's just you and me, Kim. Ah, there we go. Well, yeah. Okay. Play. Oh, wow, magic. All of a sudden I have eyes again on there. Okay. Alright. And I always add a little bit of eyebrows on my characters. It's kind of I want to make sure that they have eyebrows. And we're going to add a little bit of eyelashes just from the sides. Because why not? And I'm going to use this color just in the ears. And then I'm going to come back in with the pink that I used on the belly and add it in a little bit there. But I'm just bringing his face in with this color and trying to keep it soft. Since I'm going for kind of a pastel look. I'm going to take the R00 now and color that in. It's hard for me not to add like a whole bunch more color to it and boost up the contrast. And I may still, but we're going to continue on. I'm going to do the tail and then I'll see. So for the tail, I thought I would do similar color to this, where I'm going to take my R00, R01, and YR65. Oh wait, no, I don't. Did I use YR65? No, I didn't. Okay. We're just going to do the same thing we did for the face, and then I will decide where I want to go next. And I'm just going to each stripe. And I'm actually just going to just add a little bit to each stripe. And I'm going to work my way up. YR01. This is how I color tails when they have stripies. And then go back in with the YR00. And I'm just going to add that up from the bottom, or from, I'm going kind of right to the left, leaving a little gap for the white. And then I definitely feel like he needs some more of the E97 somewhere, so I'm going to just do just a little bit around the face here. And this is where I'm going to add a little bit of texture in by just making the tiniest little lines up. A little bit on the mask here, just and a little bit maybe in the, up here. Try not to add it everywhere, just because I think skipping the lines sometimes helps. His face is kind of in front of his arm here, so I'm going to add a little bit there. And down here. And I'm just, again, adding a little bit, but not too much, because I want to try and keep it soft. A little bit here. And I will blend this out, so. But a little bit. Just in the tail. Just against the line. Now I'm going to go back in with my second linus, or second darkest. Just expand that out. Blend that out a little bit. Not overly blending, because I do like the texture that I leave by not blending too much. And I'm just doing the same thing where I'm just drawing lines up. And then kind of blending softly over here where the shadows are. Okay, and then back to YR0000. I'm just blending that out more. And it's almost like a scribble color, just so that the texture remains and I'm not overly blending over the texture. Okay. But by inking with the mellow mustard, it left it nice and soft too. Okay, and I'm going to add a little bit of this just in here. Okay. I kind of like him just like how he is. Oh, thanks, Kim. I do want to draw in his smile too, although I could just leave it because, you know what, actually I'm just going to leave it. I want him to have a little bit of rosy cheeks, so I'm going to pull in R30 and just put it kind of underneath the eyes. Kind of going almost like a little bit of Chinese, Japanese style, like animation almost. And then I'm going to blend that out with my E000. Just to soften it a bit. And then since I added a little bit of that pink in the belly, I'm just going to go over it again. Okay. Now, do I want to leave the eyes like that, or do I want to add highlights? I'm worried that the gel pen might be eaten away with the resin, so we're going to leave it. And I'm going to say he's done. Look at that. That's probably the fastest I've ever colored anything. Still almost took me a whole half hour. But, you know, he's ready to go. So we'll put him here so that we can see him. And I like the pastel. It's, again, trying new things. Oh, yes, I always forget to mention that. I'm using Nina 130 pound cardstock. I'm hoping that's not going to hurt me in the end, but I like the thickness of this paper, so it might be 130 or 110. Okay, now the moment of truth. I am going to zoom out a little bit again, just so that you guys can see my lamp and see what I'm doing. And let's see if we can make this a coaster. Sorry to make you dizzy. All right. So the resin I'm using, I just bought off of Amazon, is a UV resin. You do need to play safe. This one doesn't have super toxic fumes, but you do want to be in a well-ventilated area. That way you don't, oh, and I need to move my camera so it's not, so move it over a bit too. It's not so fumey. I mean, you do get fumes off of it, so if you're sensitive to fumes, you do want to wear like a respirator mask. I'm not going to. I'm going to be a bad girl and not do it. But this one's supposed to have non-toxic fumes, but there is fumes still. You do want to wear gloves. It's very important. Protect your hands, because it can cause a bit of irritation. And, oops, I have enough other things on my hands over the years that I don't need to add to it. Start reading the chemicals at work and you're like, oh, I was never supposed to put my hands in that. Oopsies. All right, so I'm going to take out my mold. And I think I'm going to use this round one. And we are going to do things in a bit of layers to make sure that it cures properly. I'm going to grab a measuring cup, because I just have lots of extra measuring cups from work that I bought. And I have done a test where our inks can be mixed in. Now, I've never done a large piece. I've only done small pieces, but it did work. So we're hoping for the best here. So I'm just shaking up some Lovely Lagoon ink refill. And I am going to just put one dot in. I want it pretty light. And maybe two, actually, because I've got to cover a pretty big area here. So that was our Lovely Lagoon, which is on sale. One of my favorite colors. I use it lots. I thought it would go good with the orange color. And then I am just going to add in a whole bunch of UV resin into this cup. And I'm probably going to make more than I need, but I want to try my best to make sure I have enough, but also that it's got the color from the Lovely Lagoon, but doesn't have necessarily, I want it to cure. So I don't want too much pigment in here, but I'm just going to mix it. And I'm not sure if my studio light's going to make this cure fast either, so you got to be quick. And I am just mixing it up. Okay. And yes, I am using a plastic kitchen knife because why not? I'm going to start pouring this into our mold. Just from the center. I'm just going to let it pour in. I want a pretty thin layer. And I'm going to use my knife to probably spread it out a bit. I do have some silicone tools I can use too. You want to also be working on a surface that you don't necessarily, like a silicone mat would be best. I don't have one that's available at the moment because I use it for other things, so I need to go buy myself one. But I just poured a little bit out and I'm just going to swirl it so that it's reaching the outside. And then we're going to cure this layer. And then I'm going to add another layer. Sorry, I know this part's the tedious part a little bit. The Lovely Lagoon doesn't necessarily just, it's not highly pigmented because I didn't add a lot of it. So it's going to look more like a swirly color than a solid. Be more on the clear side. Okay. Now I'm going to bring in my UV light. Bear with me while I plug it all in. And I just got this one off of Amazon too. Okay, and I'm going to grab, I need to take the little backing paper. I was hoping to keep that on, but now that I look at it, I'm like, I gotta take that off. So, backing paper, plastic off, put it on this thing that came with it, so I'm assuming it's okay to use. Also, try and get the cat hair out of my everything. Okay. Alright, here's hoping this works. So, we're gonna slide this in, and we're gonna see what we get is what we get. And I hope I don't blind everybody with the UV light. Don't know if I should be doing this off camera. It doesn't look too bad on camera, I guess. Oh, look. Makes my image look really cool from the UV part of it. And this just takes a few moments, so I thought I'd talk about red pandas. I'm just trying to find something to talk about. So, red pandas are from China. And they're just, if you've never... Yeah, I know, it looks like it's glowing right now. If you've never seen them, they are about the size of a raccoon. They're not very, well, maybe a little bit bigger than a raccoon, but not by much. They are not necessarily like a panda bear. They eat bamboo and leaves and stuff like that. They are curious little creatures who have really sharp claws. So when I was at the Valley Zoo, which is my local zoo, we went to do a backstage tour when I was in vet tech school. And I was like, oh, my dream job was one day to, train some red pandas and stuff like that. And the vet who worked at the zoo as the vet for the zoo just deadpan looked at me and went, no, you never want to work with those creatures. They could be vicious. They have, and sometimes they're not like vicious in an aggressive way, but more of a, they will climb you and slice you up, apparently. But I still think they're cute. I'm very fortunate here in Edmonton. Our zoo used to be quite horrible. They're starting to do better work there. So the red panda exhibit's actually really cool. They have trees that they can climb and bridges that they can climb over top of you. They get a pretty big exhibit for them too. And yeah, they're just my spirit animal. I don't know if that's okay to say nowadays, but they are. So they are my favorite. Yeah, when I was... So in Canada we had, I mean, you might have watched it, Kim. There was a show called Zoo Diaries. It's still on occasionally. And I saw these little balls of fluff, and I saw trainers training them, and that was, when I was little, that was going to be my job. That was what I was going to go to school for. I was going to be like, I'm going to be a red panda trainer. Didn't realize how much school you need to be a zoologist or anything like that. But, you know, it led me into my career that I'm currently in, because I thought I would be working at a zoo, and I was like, well, I'll be a vet tech that works at a zoo. Life changed and plans changed, and realizing, you know, the amount of work that needs to go in to be a vet tech that works at a zoo, it was, just not gonna be, just gonna have to pivot. Good news, it cured. It's hard as a rock. So, yes, we can use our inks sparingly. Good, okay. I can't see through to see if the holographic pattern will actually go through it. And I have lots of bubbles. That's just because I forgot to pop them. That's okay, I don't mind. What we're gonna do is I'm going to add another resin layer. Just a very thin one. And this time I'm going to bring in a tool to help spread it out. And we're going to add glitter, I think, to the next layer. Just because, why not add glitter? So I actually didn't want the holographic side. So the holographic is going to be on the bottom of this coaster instead of the top. And that's fine. It'll look really cool, and I'll show you what it'll look like after. I'm assuming it'll look really cool anyway. But I wanted to make sure we could see our image, and I was worried that the holographic part of the coaster was gonna obscure that. So, and I'm just spreading this as a thin layer. I'm going to take our image, and this will be the moment of truth. Can we add resin to our little character here without it spreading past? So far good. It's not leaking the ink anywhere. Okay, so I just did a little, oh sorry, I'm off camera. I just did a little test, and it looks like I can add resin right to my character. And I'm going to add just a layer of this just on top so that we kind of seal it in before I put it in our resin. And submerge it. It's like, there's got to be a cheat way to do this without having to do, like I didn't want to laminate, which is what was recommended. It's like, no, we're just going to try this. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Yeah, exciting to see if it works, right? So, and I'm just spreading this with my finger because I just want a thin layer. And normally you probably should have not the white layer, but I'm lazy and I hate, oh, sorry, I wanted to add glitter first. I wanted to, oh, I see, okay. I haven't used this yet, so probably have to open it. You know what, we're just going to take a spoon. I have little tiny spoons, if I can find one. Or even this will work. And I'm just going to dip this in. I'm just using a little triangle tray just to add just a little bit into my resin. Just want to spread it out. I chose this color because I thought it would be good with the Lovely Lagoon. Getting resin on everything because that's what I do. All right. So I'm going to now cure the image and hope it doesn't stick to the mat. Ooh, okay. And the sparkles that are in there. I don't know if you're supposed to actually touch anything that's under UV light, but since people use like UV lights for nails, I think it's okay. I am learning. I might be doing something that you're like, people could be like, don't do that at all. But I'm hoping, what I'm hoping for is that the back of the coaster is opaque enough that we don't see necessarily my coloring through my paper. But I'm also hoping that the image will just sink into the next layer of resin and not make it so bumpy on top. So I'm hoping I didn't feel that too much. So far the sparkles look pretty cool in it from what I can see. And yeah, it's just kind of cool to try new things every once in a while. I've been wanting to make my own resin jewelry, and I know lots of people already do make resin jewelry, but I wear necklaces. I don't wear earrings. My ears aren't pierced. And so finding earrings, or sorry, finding necklaces that aren't just fancy, like I just want silly jewelry. I want to make like fandom jewelry and stuff like that. So I've been wanting to experiment with this type of resin for a while. I do have epoxy resin. It's kind of fun, Kim. It's too bad we don't live close by, so you could just come over and I could show you. But the epoxy resin I found really strong. I was like, ugh, that stuff's a little bit toxic to breathe in. Like, you're not supposed to breathe it in. You're supposed to be wearing a respirator mask. You're also supposed to with this stuff too, but it's fine. It's non-toxic for this one. But also it takes forever to cure. Like, it takes a full 24, 48 hours, and I'm impatient. If you haven't noticed, I'm kind of an impatient person. So I decided, let's just see. And I am glad that so far it looks like this is working. I will also, what I'll do is, after I'm gone, like I'm gone for the weekend to Calgary for a seminar. And also my mom and I are just taking like a mini vacation, just to get out of town. So I don't think it'll be this weekend, but maybe next weekend, or next week, maybe next Wednesday, I will take this outside, and if it's nice out, I will just leave it outside and see if it yellows. So it'd be the next thing of why maybe they laminate things. We're just letting the timer take its time, curing this, and then I'll pop this back out. And we're going to add our red panda to the coaster. And then add another layer of resin, and then we're pretty much done. I'm keeping it simple, but just because I wasn't sure if this was going to work. Also, I'm just looking just to make sure. Okay, so I need to add more resin to that anyway, because the sparkles are coming out off. So they didn't sink in quite far enough, but the resin's set. So here's the moment of truth. We're going to put our red panda in, and he's just going to sit in the middle. And I'm going to add lots of resin. I'm going to try and dome this up. You do have to add a lot of it. Because I want to make sure my coaster's kind of sitting flat. I don't want it to be sitting with a whole bunch of bumps on it. So, do this. And I'm just trying to do it. And I'm going to make sure there's no bubbles this time over our character. I don't care if there's bubbles in the background, but how you fix bubbles if you got bubbles is you take a lighter to it. And it'll just pop the bubbles. Do have to use a lot more resin in this than I did on my small little pieces. That's okay. Okay. Might be a little bit of leakage from the color on there, but I'm just going to swirl this a little bit. Just make sure my resin's all the way to the edge. Oh, and that moves my character a little bit, but that's okay. And that's why you have these tools, is so that you can make sure you're going all the way to the edge. Try not over spill. I'm realizing how not level my table is, too. Okay. All right. Well, I'm starting to see some things going on, so I need to get this under the light, and we're going to see if it's going to be a fail here in a second. It looks cute on camera, but I'm noticing that some of the ink might be leaking through, or because it's making it transparent, I'm hoping that's all it's doing is like the resin's soaking into the image more. We'll see in a second. I'm sure it'll be cute still, but I just didn't want it to get to a point where my image goes, oh, nope, we didn't, yeah, we didn't work. So far it's looking okay, but I know it's kind of hard to see on camera, but I also didn't want to blind everybody, so let's move it over a bit. All right, here's hoping. Yeah, fingers crossed. And again, if it is a fail, it's not that I can't try again. So far, you know, it's these type of things are where you play and you find out, you know, what works and what doesn't. You know, the nice thing I know, our ink does work with the resin, so that's cool, especially if you have a lot of refills, like I do. I think I have Lovely Lagoon maybe 3 times, and so I need to use it before it goes bad, and it doesn't. I've had them for years, and it so far hasn't been a problem, but, you know, ink doesn't last forever, so might as well use what I have. And again, 2 whole drops, it's gonna take forever to use all that. And yeah, I'm gonna continue on with this journey depending on, you know, how it goes. Maybe I can make even some Kraftin Kimmy jewelry. We'll see. That'd be cool. Be cool to be able to wear, you know, stuff you've colored and created with. So I'm hoping. So far it looks like, I mean, my biggest goal with this is that you can tell it's still a red panda at the end, and that it doesn't look like just a smear. So far, it's working. There's a little bit of unsmoothness around the image, which was not surprising, because I kind of didn't make that a good, nice, even layer. So that's okay. I'm going to take it out after it's done setting here. And if I have to add a layer of a sealant or something on top of it, then I will. But so far, this is working. And I am just feeling dead air right now. I need to learn to, like, it's okay to not be speaking every second of the video. So, how's everybody else's spring going? Again, mine is on, we've been complaining, it's like the 72nd winter of this year. But as much as I complain about the snow and stuff like that, it's not going to last very long. And it's supposed to be like 14 this weekend, so, and that's pretty warm for non-Canadians. Okay, that's going to see if that's set enough. Okay, well, here's what I'm seeing. There is a big spot in the middle that either is a bubble or something, but we did our best to try. I'm going to pull it out now. Yeah, it's fully cured. Okay. And okay, well, so I'll have to figure out why it does that. So that might be why people put them in like laminated sheets. It's not awful. Yeah, it looks like a bubble too. I should have probably popped it. It's not awful, but I hate the fact that it's like, why is that there? But hey, it's cool. We know that our inks work in the resin, and sparkles look cute. And I wouldn't call it like an epic fail, right? So I'll just have to keep experimenting and figuring out, you know, what's going to help with doing that. Will I add another layer and it'll be gone? Probably not, because I think that's underneath the surface. But it's still cute, cool, still a cool idea. And I just wanted to see what the back looked like with the holographic with our inks, because obviously that's something else that we can do. You can see my coloring through there too, so I think what I would do next time is I would cut out the same image and I would just add a backing to it so that you can't necessarily see it. I'd still use it as a coaster. Why not? All right, and It does have a little lip, but that's okay. It's because I use the back side and not the front side. Like the front's nice and, like technically this should be the front of your coaster, not your back of your coaster, but it's still cool. Okay. Well, I'm glad you guys joined me, and that was, sorry, Anna, that you just got in. It was 22 on Monday. Oh, well. Yeah, we had some rain too earlier this week. But yeah, so there's just a little experiment for today. And I'm going to keep experimenting till I get it to work 100%. And that's what you do when you're learning a new technique. So I hope maybe if somebody also knows how to do resin or does resin and they're like, hey, she tried something and I saw a cool tip there, you now know that we can dye our resin with our inks. And like I said, I'm pretty happy with the sparkle effect on it. Okay, so, and I hope that before I put in the resin, you saw the beautiful pastel coloring I did on there, and that may be something you can learn from me too. If you're like, hey, I will never do resin, or I'll never do that, you can at least learn that how to color like soft colors like that. And I hope everybody has a great, what day is it? Thursday. I have to go pack for my trip, and gotta get ready for work. But thanks so much for joining me, Kim and Anna, and anybody else who might be there. It says I only had 2, but that's okay. I will post this to YouTube, even though it's not a fail. It's a half worked, half didn't. And we will continue on working with this until we figure out how to do this properly. Maybe what we'll do is we'll start having I did think it would be cool to do, and again, I just have to see with my schedule and how things are going with my new job, but it would be cool to do Will It Work Wednesday instead of Throwback, like we had Throwback Thursday, and maybe once a month I do Will It Work Wednesday, and that's a cool idea too. Okay, all right, everybody, have a lovely weekend, and I will continue on with this journey. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.